Since the dawn of time, humanity has always had to come to terms with the fact that we are either alone in this vast universe, or we're not. Both possibilities, equally disturbing in their own right. Floating through a universe so unfathomably large and exposed to the cosmos and all its horrors is certainly unsettling. However, the possibility of a more advanced life form, with capabilities and technology far beyond our own, doesn't quite invoke warm and fuzzy feelings. If an advanced race of extraterrestrials is out there, then how would they react to our existence? Would they be friendly? Or could they have more sinister motives? After all, any extraterrestrial beings who could make contact with us would have capabilities and technology far beyond our own. And perhaps a demonstration of such advanced capabilities has already been captured on video before. February 15th, 2013 was a seemingly ordinary day for the people of Chelyabinsk, Russia. As the early birds began their daily routine, nobody could have prepared for what was about to happen. As people went to work and children began their studies for the day, a powerful blast suddenly rocked everyone nearby, shattering windows and knocking people over. An undetected object had entered the Earth's atmosphere and had exploded with such tremendous force it created a large shockwave felt throughout the region. The object in question was a meteor that had airburst at an approximate height of 30 kilometers or 97,000 feet. The explosion was so powerful that it injured over 1,400 people seriously enough to seek medical treatment and damaged over 7,200 buildings and shattered countless windows, accounting for over $33 million in damages. And while all this is certainly a tragedy, some can't help but wonder if it could have been worse. Upon closer inspection of some dashcam footage, some keen-eyed viewers noticed something peculiar just before the meteor exploded. If you look closely at the tail of the meteor, you can spot what appears to be a cylindrical object moving at great speed. And just to give you an idea of this object's speed, the Chelyabinsk meteor is seen here traveling at approximately 43,000 miles per hour, or 19 kilometers per second. But here's where things take an even stranger turn. This fast-flying object appears to not only exceed the meteor in speed, but actually pass through and effortlessly penetrate the meteor. The meteor breaking apart seems to perfectly coincide with the object re-entering our view. Moments later, the meteor explodes, and the chaos mentioned earlier ensues. Of course, we're now left to wonder if not one, but two otherworldly objects were in play that day. Could this strange object be responsible for the premature breakup of the meteor? Could the damage inflicted by the meteor have been much worse had it not exploded when it did? And are we to believe that a UFO could have saved us from much greater damage? All of these questions lead us back to our original question. If there are more advanced races out there, are they friend or foe? This next story is one I feel didn't get much attention, especially considering the horrific nature of this tragedy. On June 26, 2019, 21-year-old Jordan Lindsay and her family were on vacation in the Bahamas just trying to enjoy a nice, relaxing family trip together, when on their final day of the trip they decided to take an expedition through the Sandy Toes Rose Island tourist attraction. According to Jordan Lindsay's father, the trip to Sandy Toes Island was already fully booked and no way in. But in what would be a most unfortunate turn of events, and something straight out of a Final Destination movie, the tour guide snuck them on board at the last minute. A decision that would end up changing their lives forever. Sandy Toes Island promises a relaxing getaway on your own private beach, and is popular for the many experiences it offers, such as snorkeling, delicious foods, and even swimming with pigs. When Jordan, Lindsay, and her family arrived, they all went off to have some lunch together, and soon after split up. Jordan and her mother decided to go snorkeling off the side of the boat so they could experience the crystal clear waters teeming with life and full of adventure that Sandy Toes had to offer. Unfortunately, there was something else in the water with them that day, and being in the wrong place at the wrong time in the ocean is the most tragic fate that no one should have to face. Everything seemed to be going well at first, just another typical day swimming at the Bahamas. That is, until Jordan's mother Cammie heard Jordan screaming out for her. Cammie appeared to be confused at first, thinking that maybe she was only surrounded by dolphins. But reality quickly set in as Jordan's screams for help intensified. By now the horrifying reality set in that Jordan was being attacked by a group of sharks. It's not clear exactly what type of sharks they were, as I've heard many say they were bull sharks and others say they were tiger sharks. Either way, you don't want to find yourself face to face with any of these types of sharks in open water. Cammie quickly instructs Jordan to swim towards her, but noticed she isn't able to swim very well, and that's when it became clear that the first shark had taken her right arm off. But I think the worst part about this is not having to deal with one shark, but several full-size sharks who are now in a frenzy due to Jordan's injury. And as you can imagine, things got even worse for Jordan. As Cammie was helping Jordan swim back to safety, Jordan pointed out that a second shark was headed their way, and any remaining hope for Jordan's survival was quickly dashed as this shark came in and took a piece right out of her lower body. This nightmarish scenario reminds me of those piranha feeding frenzies, but on a much larger scale, and the attack being done to a living human being. Cammie was able to pull Jordan out of the water onto a nearby island, but it still took a while before a boat was able to take them back to shore. By the time Jordan was rushed to the hospital, it was too late. Jordan was gone. It should be noted that the response by the staff at Sandy Toes wasn't the best. Jordan's father pointed out that they had no medical equipment, tourniquets, or even first aid kits. At the time, Sandy Toes offered their prayers and condolences and said that all reasonable steps were taken to prevent this very unfortunate incident, and our staff responded swiftly and in line with our emergency protocols and procedures. But many online disagree with the response, pointing to their lack of medical equipment and training. Since then, Sandy Toes has implemented shark spotters and better protocols for this scenario. Many condolences to Jordan Lindsay and her family, and hopefully this tragedy helps shed light on what many believe to be tourist attractions making light of, and even potentially covering up such attacks in the name of business. There have been many theories throughout history trying to describe what happens to us after death, from reincarnation, heaven, and even nothingness. However, what if I told you about a theory where there was no such thing as death, and that you simply live on forever? Quantum immortality is a theory first proposed by physicist Max Tegmark in the 80s. The theory suggests that it's not possible to experience death, but instead a person's consciousness continues, or rather shifts, to an alternate reality or parallel universe when you meet your end. For example, let's say that someone going about their day is suddenly struck by a car. Quantum immortality would suggest that your reality split off into two versions, one where you died, as seen from the perspective of outside observers, and one where you narrowly escaped being struck by the vehicle, as seen through your own perspective. As a result, you continue on forever, always escaping death. If you're familiar with multiverse theory, then you know that there's an infinite number of realities all simultaneously happening at once that you could end up shifting over to. Perhaps there's a universe where you won the lottery, became a famous actor, or maybe ended up on the FBI's most wanted list. Regardless of what you believe in, the theory of quantum immortality may have been just too much for Reddit user AFH43 to bear. AFH43 first posted about his struggles with the concept of quantum immortality over 8 years ago from the date of this video on r/physics, where he said, "The theory of quantum immortality has driven me to a state of pure anxiety and terror over the last week. Is it true? Has it been debunked? I can't do this anymore." Over the next few years, AFH43 would continue to live in anguish and depression from the thought of never knowing if he could truly pass on, or if he was doomed to be trapped in a never-ending cycle of life without end. What makes me anxious is the fact that I don't want to be alive against my will. I don't want to live forever. The possibility of quantum immortality is making my life unbearable. Is it a credible theory? It makes complete sense to me, and I can't believe I'm the only one losing my mind over it. As you scroll through AFH's posts, you can clearly see his descent into existential crisis as he posts in various subreddits looking for any hope that the theory has been debunked. Quantum immortality. Is it BS? As a non-scientist, it makes a lot of sense to me for some reason, and it has made me incredibly depressed. The theory of quantum immortality has driven me to a really dark place. I'm living in a state of pure terror. Is there reason not to believe it's true? Can it be debunked? Do any physicists take it seriously? Or is it just pretty much stupid BS that is illogical? I guess there'd be an outcry if there was any credibility to it, right? At this point, it seems that the relentless grip of quantum immortality had finally pushed AFH to the edge. In what appears to be a chilling final post, he all but confirms that the battle is over, his mind consumed by the very shadows he feared. AFH became an infamous figure on Reddit's darker threads after mysteriously disappearing for 5 years, leaving behind cryptic and unsettling posts. AFH resurfaced in 2019, and it was revealed that he had endured a severe psychotic breakdown and a failed attempt at taking his own life. During his recovery, he met a woman he deeply loved, but his emotional turmoil at the time prevented the relationship from flourishing. Over time, he rebuilt his life, entered a new relationship, and learned to embrace happiness. However, even after moving on, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had unfinished business with a woman from his past. Reflecting on life's fleeting nature, he debated reaching out to her, wondering if things would be different now that he had healed. Despite his progress, a post from January 2022 painted a bleak picture. AFH had relapsed and was hospitalized for mental health struggles. His thoughts remained consumed by existential despair, quantum immortality, and an overwhelming sense of suffering. He expressed a desire to escape life entirely, even contemplating drug use to numb the pain. Diagnosed with OCD, he acknowledged that his distress was partly fueled by obsessive thought patterns, particularly regarding lost love. Despite his awareness of how his beliefs contributed to his suffering, he felt trapped in a relentless cycle of agony, longing for the comfort of nothingness while simultaneously dreading the pain his absence would cause others. A few months ago, a haunting post surfaced on Reddit from a now deleted user, claiming that their brother had taken his own life, driven to despair by the very concept of quantum immortality. Though they never mention AFH-43 by name, the details are eerily familiar, painting a tragic picture that feels all too connected to his story. I'd like to point out that this doesn't necessarily mean AFH is truly gone, because as you know, Reddit can be full of troll posts simply seeking attention. But the possibility remains it could be true. In the end, AFH became a ghost of the internet, a name whispered in dark threads, a cautionary tale of a mind lost to the abyss. Whether his consciousness lingers in another reality or not, one thing remains certain: his suffering was real, and his story will not be forgotten. Farewell, AFH-43, and may you find peace at last. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing, it really helps out, but no pressure. I upload videos regularly, so maybe the next one will be the one that wins you over.